Welcome to the Green Podcast. My name is Dylan Welch. I'm the CEO of green.org and Dylan Welch Media. Our goal with this podcast is to bring you the biggest names and leaders in renewable energy, clean technology, and sustainability so that you can stay up to date with the latest trends and everything that is happening in this world. Not only that, you'll get some action items for your life so that you can apply some amazing things and make your world a better place as well. Let's get the show started. Real quick, before we kick off this episode, I want to announce that we have our Fall 2022 Green Summit in San Diego, September 17th. Tickets are now available, so get yours today. It's one day of different speakers in renewable energy, clean technology, sustainability, all leaders sharing their vision in TED Talk style presentations for what the world will look like with a more sustainable future. There's only 300 available seats for the event, and I know they're going quickly. There's already less than 300 by the recording of this. So go grab your ticket, green-summit.org, and let's kick off the episode. Thank you very much.
Love the world we live in with EarthX TV. The only 24/7 channel.
It's about protecting our future.
Dedicated to our planet.
The number one goal is to protect plants and animals that live there.
Take action. Get inspired. Make an impact.
Join me in the fight for our planet.
That's what conservation takes.
Join the revolution on EarthX TV.
What's up, everybody? What's up, Chris?
Dylan, my man.
How's it going today?
Number uno of the Dos Gringos Locos.
Dos Gringos Locos. Guys, so first off, thanks for tuning into this episode. Special guest today, a little bit different than our standard episode. Got a good friend of mine on the show today, my man Chris. Chris can delve into, if he wants to share a little bit more about his background and stuff, which we'll get into later. But Chris is a really good friend of mine. We met in
Colorado, wasn't it?
We met in Colorado snowboarding and just bonded over drinking, having a good time, traveling, beautiful women, international cultures.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it was just a hominess. Is that a word?
It was an instantaneous relationship.
Relationship.
I haven't heard that yet, so.
Yeah, but also on top of that, Chris is probably one of the most interesting people I know. Just done a lot of crazy stuff, really cool background. Also just really intelligent, smart in a lot of different topics. Traveled all over the world. And I just wanted to kind of bring him on the show, share a little bit about him and what he's working on and what he's done, and share some fun stories and hopefully just leave you guys with some inspiration to go do some cool shit and travel the world and see where it takes you. So Chris, man, appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much.
Anytime. Thanks for the intro. That sounds like something you'd read in a book. I didn't realize that was that cool. Thanks, man.
That's the whole plan, right? Is try to live that life of a worthy of a book. So also most of our listeners here are probably listening, if they're listeners, but Chris took some time to put together a really cool setting that he's sitting in. So Chris, kind of describe the setup that you have going on right now.
Okay, so I'm currently staying in an Airbnb in Tampa, visiting some friends. And it was a lovely young couple. They converted their 2-car garage into basically a little mini house. And it's got this animal print floor rug. I'm not sure what kind of animal it is. Could be a tiger, could be a bear, could be some type of hybrid. I'm not sure. And I have my little ring light. I got a whole. Dylan originally didn't tell me it was audio only. So I'm arranging the room, moving the couch around. I set up this little studio, the nice little backdrop, got a little curtain and everything. I'm actually quite impressed, and I wish everyone could see it, but for me, his enjoyment right now.
And not only that, for everyone who hasn't seen Chris is a fucking big built dude, full beard, arm tat, sitting next to his, is it a golden doodle?
Yeah, it's a stark contrast of me. Like, you see me walking my dog, let's really, what is it? This guy's got this fluffy golden doodle. Her name's Abby. She's my best friend, easily. No offense, Dylan. She's the best friend.
All good. Abby the Golden
on the
Rule
same
on
page.
one side and then a bottle of wine on the other. So we've got the perfect setup for a podcast right now. So Chris, kind of like just tell us a little bit about your background, where you grew up, and then how you kind of had the idea and made the decision to go into the military.
Well, that's a very good question. To be honest, my family's very military service related. It's kind of like a traditional thing for the men in the family to do is, join the military, right? My grandfather, all my uncles, my father, grandfather fought in World War II. My dad was the Air Force during the Vietnam era. And I joined kind of late. I grew up in South Florida, so my early to mid 20s, I did a lot of partying. Didn't really have direction or any real solid goals in my life. It was mainly just partying, meeting, hot women, and I was wasting away my life. I ended up breaking up with a longtime girlfriend for like 3 years, and it was just like a sign, now's the time, Chris. Like, you've been wanting to join the military for the longest time. Go ahead and do it. And I would say easily one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. Gave me direction, gave me some discipline, that much needed discipline because I had little to none of that at the time. And met some amazing people. I got stationed in Italy. It was literally like a domino effect of just great things to happen in my life. And to this day, I'm still thankful I did it. I did about 7 years in the Army, and that was the main contributor, was tradition. The timing was right. I wanted to serve our country, obviously, and just the stars aligned, and I did it. Signed the dotted line, did it, had a good time. And I believe that everything you do leads you to somewhere in your life. Like us sitting here right now, if I would have joined the Army, I don't think we'd be sitting here doing this right now. Everything after it would have been a different path. Mm-hmm. So where we're at now is because of a decision I made in the past, and I'm glad for that, because you're obviously a great guy, one of my best friends, and it brought us to this moment. So cheers.
Yeah. Dude, cheers to that. Exactly. Yeah, that's crazy how you think back on like little random moments and decisions that have such a ripple effect on your life. Yeah, there's no chance we would have met because you met Tyler in Italy. Tyler introduced you to Clint. And then Clint, who's been on the podcast in the past, is how we connected in Colorado. So damn, there we go. People listening, follow your heart, make those decisions. And if you're in a bad relationship, dump that person and join the military, because it'll lead you to being on the most popular podcast on the planet, hosted by me, Dylan Welch.
Or travel. You don't have to join the military to travel. It's actually easier when you're not in the military. They're very strict with the traveling. But yeah, I think you think about our lives, right? Our interactions day to day. It's all micro interactions, right? With people and your environment. So that's why it's good to travel, because you're bringing these new microtransaction interactions with other cultures, other people. And that's how I met you, is through traveling, right? And some of the best people I've ever met in my life, some of my really good friends, I met while I was exploring the world, Very lucky mindset, right? So
yeah, agreed. And not just us traveling that one time, but we've traveled all over the world together and gone through some crazy shit, and both good moments and bad moments. Like I've had what I also appreciate about you, Chris, and for those listening, like why I consider this such a strong friendship is Chris and I have done some crazy shit together. We've traveled, we've partied, we've met beautiful girls, we've done all these crazy things. But also on the flip side, I've gone to Chris for some serious life advice, relationship stuff, work stuff. Chris has helped me through like tough times. So those moments of traveling, brought us together. That even though like we've never lived together, we've never lived in the same city, we really haven't spent that much time in person together. Consider you one of my best friends, and it's because we just like done all the times that we've had together, we just hit it off, and then we've just like lived it up to the fullest. So going back to your military experience, walk us through sort of what that was like. You're like, all right, I'm in my mid-20s. I'm going to join. What was that next process?
Well, I'm a little bit older than that. I joined when I was 28, which I don't know if many people know is that's pretty old to join, honestly. Most people join when they're in their, like 18, 19, 20. So a lot of my peers, going through basic training and all that, much younger than me, had a lot to learn about life. I feel like even though at the time I didn't consider myself, someone with direction or discipline, I did have a lot more lived experiences, just because I was 27, 28. And that brought a lot of, it actually assisted me quite a bit in the military because I was a little bit older. So at first it was kind of tough to acknowledge that my bosses were much younger than me. That was something you overcome quickly. they beat that into you. So so the beginning was a little bit of transition into that. It's like, oh, my team leader, my squad leader, they're like 22 years old, 18 to 22 years old. Like, man, this guy, he's basically still a kid, but he's my boss in charge of my life. I always got a kick out of that. I thought that was pretty funny. The thing is, and this is something I'm gonna deviate. Like, you're gonna ask me a question, and I'm gonna, I am. I go in a few minutes. I think if you can keep a sense of humor about stuff, you can get through damn near anything in life. Seriously, like I think back to every bad experience I've ever had, and I found humor in it somehow. As dark as that sounds, like, and that's where the whole dark humor thing in the military comes from. Is you'll experience some things that are pretty rough, right? But you might crack a joke with your buddy, and that'll kind of alleviate some of that, stress or sadness or whatever you're going through.
Yeah, man, that's a good way to put it. Is just keeping things light when it's tough, and I think that's why you've helped me too. Like, you've, I remember we were in Costa Rica. My business lost a big client, and I was pretty bummed about it. And then, like, 30 seconds later, you had me cracking up and laughing, and we were like drinking a beer. So that's you need those people in your life who. I remember that was our saying in, like, Costa Rica, like, my homies gas me up, like when you're down and out, you get them back up. And that's something that you've always been really good at, which I appreciate. So what was like, so you're in there for 7 years. So where did you go? You went basic training and then you went to Italy. What were some other experiences that you had while you were in the military?
Well, so it was basic training. Then I went to airborne school. I had an airborne infantry contract. So, the jump out of planes, all that good stuff. Went to the airborne school, gave me orders for Italy, stationed in Vicenza, which is about 45 minutes outside of Venice. And we went there, a little bit of culture shock at first. I had not really been outside the U.S. since then. I went to Thailand for a month before that. So that was my first real big international trip, was the Thailand trip. We can talk about that later, but yeah, man, got to Italy. They gave us an actual 40-hour culture shock course, basically called, like, I think it was Head Start, something like that. They took us around, showed us how to use the trains and the buses, and how to order basic meals, how not to get ripped off by taxis, that kind of thing. And then they kind of just let us, do our thing. That unit was very active in training, so we were gone training quite a bit before we deployed. But we did get quite a few 3 and 4 day weekends. I think that was mainly because the big guys in charge, the head officers, like commanders and whatnot, they went their long weekends in Italy as well. So the trickle-down effect of that was us little peasants got to enjoy the weekends as well. We definitely took advantage of that. We constantly went to Florence, which is essentially how we ended up meeting, was because I met a guy there, our good friend Tyler, and that's spawned dozens of relationships from him to other people, and yeah, it's just like a cascade of friendships out of that. But I got to travel quite a bit because they were very lenient on travel. You have to submit paperwork saying, "Hey, I'm going to go to this country. Here's where I'm staying," and then they would sign off on it, and then you'd be good to go for the weekend. And I think I've seen more of Europe than America, to be honest with you, which is something I'm working to correct this year, because I want to do more stateside travel. I know we've talked about it a little bit, trying to figure out our next year of trips.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'd like to get out to where you're at for, a little bit. Same.
And vice versa. So that's cool, man. What were, like, if you can think back and share just some crazy either experiences or memories, obviously I'm sure you had a ton in the 7 years that you were abroad and in the military. What are some sort of like stories or moments that stand out to you as just like, holy shit, that was crazy, or just something that you'll never forget?
Easily a dozen. I'll share a couple good ones. One, I got tasked out to go on a mission, and because I was getting attached to another platoon, I had to basically fly out to this big operating base by myself. I was in my tent. I was in a tent by myself. I mean, it was after the mission was done. The mission itself wasn't very eventful. It was a couple-day mission. Get back, I'm like, man, I desperately need a shower. So in the military, especially infantry, like they have these things called priority of work. Basically, clean your weapons, make sure everything's serviceable before you go eat or sleep, right? So it's priorities of work. So I'm sitting there in a tent by myself, like, man, you know what? I really need a shower, I need some food. So I yell out to my buddy, hey man, can you wash my weapons for me so I can go shower or whatever? He's like, all right. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm sitting there getting ready to leave, and something in the back of my mind was like, no, Chris, don't be a lazy guy. This is not you. You should clean your weapons before you go shower. Showers aren't going anywhere. All right. So I'm like, hey man, you know what? Just give me like 10, 15 minutes. I'm just gonna chill here, finish weapons maintenance, clean everything, make sure everything's serviceable. I'll hit you back up. I was like, all right, cool, I'm next door from you. So I'm sitting there cleaning my little mortar tube and my M4 and everything. And I hear the incoming alarm. So there's this alarm that sounds because there's these detection systems. So when you have like artillery, like enemy artillery and mortars and stuff coming in, it can detect it in the air, right? Mm-hmm. And alarms are sounding, and I'm like, shit, okay. Well, excuse my language, but it's like, shit, okay. I should probably get to a bunker. So I run to the bunker, which is, conveniently next door, and wait for the rounds to hit. So you hear doom, doom, doom. I was like, damn, that's pretty close. Probably like 50 meters, 100 meters away. I'm like, all right, well, waited about 10 minutes. They give like an all clear announcement over there, like, okay, all clear, rounds are complete, whatever, they're done firing, whatever they said. And I'm like, all right, cool. Call my buddy. I'm like, hey man, watch myself. I'm gonna go shower before they shoot at us again. So I'm walking over to the shower tent. It's basically a tent. It was not a hard. Sometimes they have like the metal connexes. This is like tent. So I walk over there, and the entire shower tent, the one that I was getting ready to use, had holes on it from the shrapnel from the mortars. So had I not stopped to clean my weapons, I probably would have gotten killed. So there's something guiding. I feel like there's a guiding force out there that kept me alive. I don't really tell that story too often just because I don't want to jinx it. But yeah, that was definitely a come to Jesus moment for me. It was, wow, if I had not taken that extra 5-10 minutes to clean my weapons, I probably would have been laying in the showers in a shower tent naked, just super messed up,
It's crazy, man. Well, glad that obviously didn't happen. And yeah, life is short, dude. You gotta appreciate those not appreciate those moments, but appreciate life in general, and then
right,
take those moments to be like, damn, I have all my limbs and I'm intact.
Yep. I mean, you think about like just day-to-day life. If you're driving on the street and you have a near miss, it's like, man, that's close. I should probably try not to be such a dick to the other people,
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that can put things in perspective. So I always think back to that moment. I'm like, man, I'm here for more than just being, I need to contribute in some manner, You know what I mean? Like make other people's lives better some way, even if it's just make someone laugh, or being a good friend, or when you travel, spending a little bit more than you should in a maybe a third world country just to boost their just stuff like that.
Well, dude, that's crazy, man, and thanks for sharing. And that is a wild story. Let's switch it over to some more lighter stuff because we've gotten into some crazy shit traveling as well. Just a quick little background. Let's see. So we met in Colorado. We've been to Tulum together. We've been to Costa Rica together. We've been to Peru together. And every single one of those trips, I can just think back on so many just little hilarious moments of like nonstop having fun. But I think one thing that I always love like thinking about is I'll kind of share this story and then we can like dive into it. But Chris and I went to Peru together, and most people go to Peru, they go to Cusco, Machu Picchu, Lima, which is an amazing experience in itself. But we were kind of like, fuck it, let's go off the beaten path. So we went to this tiny little surf shop or surf town called Mancora, which you basically fly from Lima to the tiniest little airport I've ever been to in my entire life. So you drive like an hour through just the desert to get to this little third world beach town. And we met up there, and basically right off the bat, like Chris and I are just social, fun people. We're in our element right there. And within about 2 days, I think the entire town knew us as Los Dos Gringos.
Well, it's because remember the salsa night, and also the fact they were probably the only two American guys in the entire town.
Yeah, no, we for sure were. We were the only two Americans in this entire town. And then I think it was our first or second night at the hotel we're staying at. There's this live band, and everyone's kind of like standing around awkwardly. And Chris and I are like, fuck it, dude. And we just started dancing and like pulling people in. Next thing we know, there's just this group of like 10 Peruvian girls like all hanging out with us, dancing.
Extremely attractive. You gotta give the details. Extremely attractive Peruvian girls. And Dylan and I we're dancing salsa, bachata. I mean, we're going nuts. And what's crazy, and what I noticed too, is if you have even a mediocre ability to dance, especially as a white guy in another country, they eat it up. They love it. So I look over, Dylan's surrounded by literally, I'm not joking, probably 10 or 12 women. And it was like the opposite of what you see in nightclubs in America, right? It's like you have 10 guys around one, woman. It was complete opposite. So it was fun to watch that. Dylan's tearing it up. They got like some conga line going at one point, I think.
Yeah,
you never forget.
You have a basic understanding of some Spanish, and you're not afraid to dance after some drinks. Guys, if you're listening and you're single and you're attracted to South American women, that's all it takes. But that was a great trip. We also did a lot of cool stuff there, though, while we were there too. I mean, we went scuba diving while we were there. You got scuba certified. We swam with turtles, dude. We went out and we were hanging out with people that didn't speak a word of English, and we were hanging out with them all day. We met these two girls, and we invited them out on a boat day with us. These two girls didn't speak a word of English, and yet we just had the most fun with them trying to communicate. And like that's the beauty of travel, is these girls didn't speak a word of English. Our Spanish is terrible, yet they were down to come join us, and we had the most fun day ever on a boat.
That seriously was like one of the highlights of my trip, was stumbling through my rudimentary Spanish, and you were actually conversational because you had spent some time in South America, so you were crushing it, man. I was highly impressed, and I remember using Google Translate, and then I was trying not to cheat too much. It was mostly like, all right, I know this word, I don't know the next word I need to use. Let me Google that, translate whatever, and then I would chain them together without much more help beyond that. But listening to you interact with them helps me significantly. That's the best way. Is like complete cultural immersion, right? So
exactly, yeah. I was there. That was the tail end of my trip, so I was there for a bit. So my Spanish is a little better. But I mean, even in 10 days, you were picking it up and having conversations with people. So yeah, that's a cool thing too. Is like the cultural immersion, And that's why it's important to go to these different places and venture out into, new cities and countries and continents that you've never been. Is you challenge yourself in new ways, your brain starts working in new ways, and it learns pretty quickly. Where's your favorite place that you've ever traveled to?
You gonna ask me that question for real? All right. Whenever people ask me that question, it's impossible for me because it's like you go to the grocery store and you look at the vegetable area, and you got all these different vegetables, they're all different, and I like each one for their different tastes, right? That's how I feel about countries. Is I like every different country for its own vibe. What do you like doing? Do you like dancing? Okay, we'll go here. Do you like ceviche? Peruvian ceviche, best I've had personally. Wine. Go to Italy, France. That's what I think. It's like it depends on what you're really asking me. Are you asking me my favorite places? I don't have one. I like various countries for various reasons, right?
So I know you've been to Thailand. You've been to Thailand, what, twice?
Yeah, twice. The first time was for a month to go train Muay Thai, kickboxing, with a friend of mine. He actually invited me because he was actually he did that quite often. He was trained for it and all that.
That's it. Yeah, we were doing Muay Thai in Peru as well.
Yeah, I remember that, and I remember my hands was hurting for like 2 months because remember those little gloves that we had.
Yeah, dude, those the littlest, oldest, shittiest gloves.
Man.
So, dude, that sounds sick though. So, tell me a little bit about that. You spent a month in Thailand learning Muay Thai.
So we went to Tiger Muay Thai, which is an amazing fight camp. Can't say enough good things about them. And they've grown significantly over the years. So I went back in 2010. And since then, they've added, I think they do like CrossFit, and they offer all these other things too, not just Muay Thai. So I haven't been back to that training facility since then, but I followed them on Instagram and all that stuff. Started in beginner class. I never really did any of that. And within a week, my trainer was like, all right, we're moving to intermediate. And then I did that for a little bit. Then my friend, he was in advanced class, and you're basically sparring with future UFC fighters. And every once in a while, they'll have a UFC fighter there as well. I was like, I don't know if I want any part of that. But I was like, I have to see what happens. So I did a few advanced classes, got the absolute shit kicked out of me a couple of days in a row. It was great. And then got a couple little amateur fights. One of them I dislocated. Actually, remember the reggae bar in, what was that, Co-BP?
Yeah.
I dislocated my shoulder there.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you to tell us about that. So I know, yeah, there's for those of you not familiar, in Koh Phi Phi, Thailand, which is this little island, there's a bar where basically there's a boxing ring in the middle of it. Everyone sits around it, and they just bring up two random people from the stands, and they put on gloves, headgear, and shin guards, and they fight 3 rounds. And you never know like who you're gonna get. They try to size you up, like try to match you up like size wise, but you never know.
Keep in mind that there's guys that go there just to beat up tourists. Like there are guys that go to Thailand to train, and they're like, all right, let's go to Koh Phi Phi for the weekend, and they'll literally just sit there waiting for some drunk tourist to show up, and it's always kind of funny because they get just absolutely wrecked.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that. So you were training in Thailand, then you go back. Was it the same trip or was this a different trip?
The same the shoulder incident?
Yeah.
Well, it's the same trip.
Okay. Because I know
it was 2 weeks of training, actually 2.5 weeks. Then we started doing some island hopping because my friend, he wanted to, basically he had the trip planned. I was just there, which is great. I love that. So I was just joining him for his adventure. So we went to Koh Phangan, Koh Phi Phi, a couple other places. But the first island I went to was Koh Phi Phi. And, we're out there drinking. And remember the buckets you get? Or buckets, whatever. Yeah. So I was just slamming whiskey buckets all day. Get to the reggae bar. I'm like, I've been training for a couple weeks. I could totally do this, My buddy's gassing me up like, oh, bro, you can wreck that. It's this tall Irish-looking guy. I'm like, I'll mess this guy up. So we get up there. Pretty tall guy. He's definitely got me beat on reach and everything. he kept coming in for clinches, which was strange because someone with reach would typically want to keep their distance and just poke at you. But he kept coming in. I rocked him a couple of good times. He came in for a clinch, and I'm pretty good about throwing. Like, I'll get 2 clinches and just throw them. So I did that, but he held onto my arm. Pulled out of the socket. I didn't realize at the time what happened. So I'm like, man, my shoulder hurts, whatever. All right, one more round, see what happens. I think it was 3 rounds or 4 rounds. I'm like, man, and you can see my shoulder blade like jutting out, I guess. It was pretty rough looking. And people were like trying to stop the fight. I'm like, no, I'm fine. Like waving them off. And then towards the end of that next round, the ref's like, no. There's a doctor right there. He's like, no, his shoulder's dislocated. Stop the fight, whatever. My buddy and I go to the hospital. Interesting thing about the island hospitals is it's not like in America where it's staffed 24/7 and the lights are on. It says ring bell for service, essentially. It's like a red little button out there. I'm sitting there, cradling my arm. It's just some of the worst pain I've ever been in my life. I don't know if you dislocated the shoulder, but it's pretty bad. So I'm just sitting there like, oh my God, somebody help me quickly. Ringing the buzzer. 15 seconds later, about 5 or 6 little tiny nurses come running down. You see the lights coming on. They're all shuffling to the door. They're like, what's wrong? Great English. Like, what's wrong? I'm like, I'm in like fight shorts still. So like, they kind of figured, they put 2 and 2 together. Like, this dumb tourist bought the reggae bar, got injured. So they got me on a table. My buddy Ryan's like, my shoulder was so badly out of place, they had to put me under it. I'm pretty sure they put me under using morphine and a mixture of something else, because that was the best I ever felt in my life, I think, at the time. Apparently, I asked 2 or 3 of them to marry me. I kept calling one of them my little angel. I don't remember any of this, by the way. But it took about an hour to put my shoulder back in place. I was like, all right.
Damn.
I come to, sitting up, like, all right, feeling pretty good. Still pretty high from the medicine they gave me. And a guy walks by, and there's a open window next to the bed. He's like, oh, man, I just watched your fight. He's like, man, you're kicking his ass till, you got hurt. He's carrying a pizza. He slid the pizza through the window. It was like a gift to me. So I'm sitting there, all medicated, arm in a sling, eating pizza, just living this surreal moment. I'm like, man, so what do I do now? So they gave me a bunch of anti-inflammatories and some pain meds, whatever, and gave me a sling. And the total bill for all that was like $80 or something comical. Mm-hmm. I was just like expecting a couple of extra zeros at the end of that. I'm like, wait, what? Got all this medicine too, and it's all included? Yeah. So we leave. After that, we went to a couple more islands. One island I was so drugged up I don't even remember going to. My buddy was like, yeah, man, you're taking your pain pills, and we like went out to clubs. And I was like, I really wish I remembered that, because that sounds fun. He's like, yeah, man, you're really in your sling dancing and just having the best time ever. He's like, I'll just keep an eye on you, make sure you didn't get crazy. I was like, all right, I kind of remember that. Then we went to Copenhagen for the full moon party, which I don't know if you've ever heard of it or if you've ever been to one.
I've done a full moon party, but I did a full moon party in Koh Phi Phi, actually.
Okay. Yeah, it's quite different in Copenhagen. It's hands down the craziest party I've ever been to in my entire life. I'm not going to go into details because I could talk about that for hours, but the beach is lined with bars and clubs, and everything's on fire. It's such a great time. Everyone's so cool. They have dedicated areas on the beach that are roped off by police. They're called pass-out areas, where you literally just pass out and sleep there for the night. No, keep it down. That's great.
That's awesome. So
that's the first trip, and then second trip.
Shout out to Trevor. Second trip, right?
Yeah, second trip was with Trevor, our mutual friend, that brought us together. So cheers to Clint.
Yeah. Well, dude, so from Florida to military, traveling around the world, now you're working in cybersecurity. I don't want to take up too much of your time anymore. I know it's getting late over on the East Coast. Real quick, tell us a little bit about what you're working on, nowadays, now that you're out of the military, and obviously you're still traveling, but how my man Chris pays his bills.
Pays them bills on time. That's all it's all about, right? A little bit of cash for the bills, a little bit of cash for the travel. That's all. Yep. That's how you stay happy. I am a threat analyst at a cybersecurity firm. Sounds really sexy. It's quite nerdy. I didn't really get hard into IT and the security side until after the Army. I think every infantry guy, when they get out, they're like, oh, I'm going to go do security contracting. I'm going to go deploy overseas again as a contractor to make all this money. That was my plan C or D. My plan A or B was, and I recommend anybody that's getting ready to get out of the military is have like 3 or 4 plans, because one of them is going to fail. Anyways, I built computers growing up. I have a little bit of background in some of that stuff. So, I was aware that you can travel while working in IT in a lot of job positions in that field. And that was kind of my angle was, all right, I got to start out somewhere. Let me start entry level, work my way up. In a couple of years, I'll be able to be on the road working, hanging out with my dog, doing whatever, hitting the road. And my company basically monitors other companies' network traffic, right? So if a hacker tries to hack them, we'll get alerted on it, and then we'll help them triage it, more like detect. I'll analyze it, do a little bit of forensics here and there. It's a lot of analysis, and the jobs actually helped me become more objective as far as just in life too. Like, I feel like you need to work a career that's stimulating, not just physically but mentally, right? Mm-hmm. It helps you grow as a person. You keep that brain elasticity. If you have a monotonous job or you're not really using your brain power, I feel like you're just wasting yourself. So much you could do if you really apply yourself. Exactly. Anyway, so that's what my company does. We monitor for hackers and let them know if they're being attacked. We'll help them, remediate, take care of it, all that good stuff.
Well, dude, that's what it's all about right there is, challenging yourself mentally, challenging yourself physically. I know you're obviously, you work out a lot.
You've actually, hold on. No, wait. You've actually inspired me because I was getting pretty lazy there for a while. You leave the military, there's a period where you just stop caring about working out for the most part. A lot of people fall into that trap. I was pretty good for a while there. Then I just started, having, back issues or whatever. It's like using that as an excuse to eat like crap. And traveling, you don't really monitor when you eat too much. You just kind of, and if you're drinking a lot, it adds up. So, I was watching you with your boxing stuff, and you're constantly just working out and taking care of yourself. Man, it's great having friends that are well-rounded, they travel, smart people, they take care of their bodies, they work out, they're, healthy, they pump you up, and, and it ties into business too. Like, I know me and you've talked about business stuff, and hopefully I helped you and yours with some ideas here and there. You've certainly helped me with mine. I have a couple things going on that I will release in the future. But I do want to have my own side thing going on in the next 2 years. That's my next goal here. And then, man, I think, thanks to you, I started being a little bit more active. You're one of the people in my life that really inspires me to do that stuff. So thank you.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, again, that's what it's all about right there is being well-rounded, challenge yourself mentally, challenge yourself physically, travel the world, try new things. I think both of our goals is just try to be like the most interesting man in the world. And anytime I see you do something sick, I'm like, oh shit. All right. Now I got to do something.
Oh, here we go. We're doing this. We're doing this now.
But, dude, thank you for being here and coming on. And I hope you guys listening, tuning in, appreciated, just some stories that Chris has. And that's our goal with this show is just bring on cool, inspiring people to just change your perspective, inspire you to go do cool stuff, learn more, and try new things. So, Chris, man, appreciate you being here.
Dylan, those gringos.
Logos. Abby. Can't forget Abby.
Oh, yeah, we have the guest star, Abby. Look at her. She's just chilling here, man.
I don't think she's moved the entire time.
This is what we do. Talking all day. It's great.
All right, Abby, Chris, guys, thank you so much for being here. Awesome episode. Also, special episode because it's our 150th episode of the Green Podcast, which is absolutely crazy. So wanted to bring on someone special for this episode. So thank you
Well,
guys again. Thank you.
I really appreciate that, Dylan. You're one of those special people in my life, so that's cool that happened to land with that.
Yeah, appreciate it. And that's it for us, guys. Quick announcements. Check out the Green Summit coming September 17th, 2022. We're already even prepping for our next event, March 11th, 2023, bringing together a bunch of leaders in business, tech, finance, energy, the environment, blue tech, everything to kind of inspire you to be a little bit more just, kind of thinking about your future and how you can be a better person and give back, as Chris mentioned. So check that out. We hope to see you there. Other than that, that's it for Chris, Abby, and I on the Green Podcast. Have a good one.
Later, guys.
Boom. Thank you so much for tuning into the episode. My name is Dylan Welch. Appreciate it. As always, stay up to date with the latest information on green.org and dylanwelch.com. Dylan Welch Media is a full-service media and communications agency dedicated to promoting, marketing, and helping businesses in clean tech, renewable energy, and sustainability grow, get more clients, get more customers, get in front of their ideal clientele. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out. If you're interested in joining the Green Summit, go to www.green-summit.org. Reserve your ticket today. There's very few spots left, so make sure you get on that ASAP. Thank you and have a great rest of your day.